The story is so mind-boggling and strange that it has kept investigators on their toes for many years now. People have come up with many theories surrounding her disappearance, but none of them make sense. In February 2012, a young 21-year-old student named Elisa went missing. Her disappearance was very unusual and mysterious, even after an extensive search by the police. Even they couldn't find a single clue regarding what had happened to the young girl. It all started when her roommate told the authorities that she hadn't seen or heard from her in 2 days. When she got worried, she decided to check on her friend. She tried calling out to her, but there was no reply. So she walked in her friend's room only to find out that the bed was neatly made and her bag was sitting in the corner. But Elisa was nowhere to be found. She had vanished without a trace. Even more peculiar was the fact that nobody had seen her leave the room. According to the reports, someone had accessed the room key card around 4 a.m., but it was not clear whether it was Elisa who had done that or somebody else. In the morning, the authorities arrived at the hotel room and knocked on the door. But when there was no response, they used the master key to open the door and step inside. They found the room to be in perfect order, which was unusual considering Elisa had been missing for 2 days. There was no sign of a struggle or anything that could indicate foul play. The hotel staff said that they had last seen Elisa on the evening of February, but they hadn't thought much of it because people came and went all the time. What was odd was the fact that her laptop, cell phone, and most of her belongings were still in the room. However, the most puzzling thing was that the window was wide open, which was strange. Because the hotel's windows were designed in a way that they couldn't be opened more than a few inches. Furthermore, Elisa would never have left the room without her laptop, which she never went anywhere without. The police released a statement asking for help in locating the missing woman. They also asked anyone with information about the case to come forward. But despite the efforts of the police and Elisa's family, there were no signs of the missing woman anywhere. As days turned into weeks, the police began to believe that Elisa might have run away from the hotel. They checked with her friends and family to see if she had returned home, but she was nowhere to be found. Even her credit cards had not been used since she disappeared. The police were baffled. There was no logical explanation for Elisa's disappearance. She had no history of mental illness or substance abuse, and she had no known enemies. On March 19, 2012, over a month after she was reported missing, the police received a call from someone who had found a body in the water. The body was taken out of the water, and it was confirmed to be that of Elisa. But how did she end up in the water? The autopsy report showed that Elisa had drowned, but there was no sign of trauma or foul play. This raised more questions than it answered. How did she get into the water? Why did she have no clothes on? And how did she manage to stay underwater for so long without anyone noticing? Although Elisa's body was found, the mystery of her death remains unsolved. There are many theories, but no one knows for sure what happened to her. One theory is that Elisa accidentally fell into the pool. This is unlikely because the pool was on the 4th floor, and there was no way that she could have fallen into it without being noticed. Additionally, the pool was covered at the time, and it would have been very difficult for her to have climbed onto the roof and then fallen in. Another theory is that someone pushed her into the pool. This is also unlikely because there was no evidence of struggle, and the pool was in a very public area. If someone had pushed her in, someone would have noticed. Another theory is that Elisa took her own life. Again, this is unlikely because there was no evidence that she was depressed or suicidal. A more recent theory is that Elisa was the victim of a serial killer. This theory is based on the fact that Elisa's body was found in the same area where several other women have been found dead. However, there is no evidence to support this theory, and it is just speculation. The last person to be seen with Elisa was her roommate. She had been acting strangely in the days leading up to her disappearance and had been seen talking to herself and pacing the room. Some believe that she may have killed Elisa in a fit of rage, or that she may have been the one who pushed her into the pool. However, the police have not named her as a suspect, and she has not been charged with any crime. Many theories have been proposed about why Elisa would have wanted to take her own life. Some say that she was struggling with depression or anxiety, while others say that she was under a lot of stress from school. However, these are just theories and there is no concrete evidence to support any of them. What makes the case even more strange is that Elisa had been staying at the Cecil Hotel, which has a history of being haunted. There have been numerous reports of strange activity in the hotel, including apparitions, disembodied voices, and objects moving on their own. Some believe that Elisa may have been the victim of foul play, while others believe that she simply slipped and fell into the pool. However, without any concrete evidence, it is impossible to say for sure what happened. Despite the numerous investigations, the police have been unable to determine how Elisa died. The lack of answers has led to speculation and rumors, but nothing has been confirmed. The case of Elisa Lam is a tragic one. A young woman with her whole life ahead of her died in a mysterious accident that will never be fully understood. Her family and friends are still searching for answers, but they may never get them. When the news broke about the death of Elisa Lam, the internet was quick to come up with various theories. After all, it's human nature to want to make sense of tragedy. But in this case, the theories were particularly wild. Some people believe that the case was not actually about Elisa Lam at all, but rather about a secret government experiment. They claim that Elisa was chosen as the test subject for a top-secret government project that involved mind control. However, when the experiment went wrong, the government panicked and tried to cover it up. They believe that this is why there is so little information available about the case, and why so many people have died trying to investigate it. But what really happened to Elisa? Was she the victim of a government experiment gone wrong? Or is there something else at play here? Unfortunately, we may never know for sure. The truth is that the case of Elisa Lam is one of the most baffling mysteries of our time. Despite all the theories and speculation, we still don't know what really happened to her. All we know is that she died in a tragic accident and that her family deserves answers. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stories that will haunt your nights. And tell me in the comments, was Elisa's death just an accident or a secret someone doesn't want us to know?